Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Commentary's Magic Stream on today, Sunday, December 15th, 2019. I am, as always, Grandpa's.
Big Cheese?
Arcat and
Ivory Starlight, I'm dead.
I'm warm and toasty.
You should stop being dead.
He's also burning a Christmas tree right now.
I am not burning a Christmas tree. I have a Christmas tree, and I have a fire going, and the two are not connected in any way other than the fact that they are, like, 10 feet apart.
in the same room. So that basically means that the Christmas tree's on fire, right?
No, it's not on
Not
A
yet, it's
moderate
not.
breeze blows through and
There
flames.
there is like a mesh wire guard in front of the fireplace. There's a grate that's out there as well. There's brick. It would have to go through all of my pony cards first before it got to the tree.
So
Question.
you're just burning your pony cards. Got it.
Grandpa's is burning his pony cards. That's correct. That's what you're
Ivory
hearing.
Starlight 2019.
Remember that time when God, what's his name right now? Colgate tried to burn a high ground.
It didn't work.
No.
I successfully burned an element of generosity once because I opened 7 of them and didn't get a single carbo loader out of those boxes. I was really upset.
Anyway,
You're talking
what
about that awful ultra rare from Crystal Games?
Yep.
Anyway, what are we
Anyway.
doing today?
Looking at
Well,
decks?
yeah, we're gonna look at some decks. COCO, the first COCO to feature Leaders and Legends cards and the post-rotation format was completed. And we've got some results from that, so we're going to take a look at that. And then after that, we'll look at some cards from Leaders and Legends that were almost printed doing something differently. Okay, not really. Obviously, they weren't going to be done that way, but we have some funny stories to share.
So the alternate title of this was Cards That Did Not Lead Nor Become Legend.
You came
Or-
up with that just now, didn't you?
No, but this one I did. The set name was Followed and Forgotten,
Okay, that's pretty good.
except it has a name conflict with Friends Forever.
It does.
Terrible.
All right. Well, first, who was our champion for the most recent COCO?
Echo Sagan.
Congratulations, Echo,
With a thorax deck?
with the Thorax deck. It's
Okay.
Tara's favorite deck. Yeah.
It's the correct deck.
I feel like we predicted that Thorax would be pretty good.
Thank you. I've been
Think so.
saying this.
I think a lot of people were looking at Thorax and were like, wow, this deck loses like nothing.
Is this running 0L cards?
His problem deck changed.
The problem
And
deck
there's
has
also-
some.
The Fluttershy in there.
Which Fluttershy?
No, except it
No.
wasn't Satires from Friends Forever.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
I
no.
just can't see the set symbol very well.
The
It
main
has-
deck has 0 L cards.
Yeah, 3 problems.
Yeah, I mean, Buckball strategy is very good. Amity Ball is very good. Sorry, Amity Ball, Aura.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
It's not as bad as infiltrating.
Infiltrating, I'm
It's
not...
infiltrating is a horse pun. I'll give them that one. This was just a screw up on my part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's add that one to the oops we accidentally.
I don't think they were going for a horse pun when they printed infiltrating.
They
No.
were going for a horse pun. Deal with it.
They have plausible deniability for that one.
Yes, they do.
Although they spelled Philly wrong, it should have 2 L's.
Yeah. Okay, but not to disparage Leaders and Legends here. The Buckball is kind of huge.
Oh, absolutely. All of a sudden, you can play...
Day shifts and gummies.
Like, look how many of
Fluttershy
these yellow
acceptable business
cards
attires.
are 2 rec.
Yeah.
2 yellow rec.
Spooky Ruins,
is this
Sanctuary
deck- okay.
Construction.
Okay, it has it has Foffs. Other than Foffs, though, this deck is kind of screwed if that problem gets pushed away.
I mean, you can still move Thorax and put the gummies into play.
Yeah.
So you're not.
There's
really
only
gonna
2
be
of
for
them.
Lack of your. Well, yeah, it's greedy on entry, but sometimes you got to go greed. Sometimes greed is good, you know.
Yeah.
And in this case, it certainly seemed to be. So, we were just having a discussion earlier today about one of the reasons that yellow is so powerful right now, and it seems like most decks that are running yellow in an aggressive way have very similar cards in them. You see a lot of Bryant, you see a lot of Bunyips, you see Meadowbrook, of course. But by far the all-star here, and it's made even worse in the Thorax deck, is Day Shift. Day Shift provides so much free value for these aggressive yellow decks, and when your main is large enough to potentially confront any problem in your deck by itself, that can just be ridiculous.
Yeah, and it also means that even on your opponent's turn, they're staring down a 7, 8, 9, 10 power Trader to the Hive.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of hard to win face-offs against in a lot of cases.
Yeah, no single confront is really going to be advantageous to the opponent. Spooky Ruins is there to make them flip even less, and I mean, you've still got Defend the Hive for immediate speed tricks. And it's very difficult for your opponent to mess with a lot of the stuff that's here. There's a lot of power boosting that exists between CC and Flitter, Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy. And then, I mean, Shoeshine. Destroyer of Worlds.
Not so much here. There's not a lot of token generation. So she's not quite as scary as she could be, I think.
Sure, but once you've got your wreck out of the way with Snow Dash, then that's a free eat. The token that you get for winning face-offs is a free eat. The gummies are free eats, and you've got a couple of friends who are always there. Like, it's not huge, but they're present.
Kind of. Yeah, you get bits of it out. I think it's probably better to make a hilarious meta call and say, okay, you're going to donate some friends to me? I'm fine with this.
Yeah, that's fair. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Rarity would just lose against this deck.
Yeah, she would. All right. Shall we take a look at the next couple of lists?
Sure. Hey, look, more Day Shift.
And Yona and Meadowbrook.
When you ignore all of the Silver Stream.
I mean, so we talked about this Silver Stream combo a lot on the last stream because Blue Fairy brought it up in one of the decks she submitted for patron review.
Yeah, she did.
And I'm still in love with it. I still love this combination. It's really, really cute.
There's a lot of Silver Stream. Yes, new Fluttershy. There's a lot of Silver Stream here. I appreciate this.
I wonder how close this is to Blue's list, actually. It seems very similar. I see a lot of the same cards.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if this may be almost a 1-for-1.
It's probably close. I mean, if you're going for this as a goal, you're going to build something that looks a lot like this. Like, how far were we off when we were both building Defender's Block D-Shy?
Oh, like 3 cards or something? 3 total cards?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very close. Yeah. Very, very cool deck. Obviously capable of just generating a ton of AT value. And the pink gives you that removal, which is always important. So, very cool list.
This is my kind of stupid here. I like it.
Let's see what the next one is.
Oh, you'll never guess.
Let's see.
I looked at this deck and I was like, this looks like Hithrock. And then I looked at who it was.
It's a counter farming deck.
It does just kind of exude that Hithrockness, doesn't it?
And
It
yeah,
sure does.
this has Hithrock's name all over it.
Meticulous Talks actually talked about this a bit yesterday on their stream. And Hithrock brought up the point that he's glad to have the old monies in the list. But without Portal, it does definitely get a lot worse. And I think he's actually dropped the same-day deliveries because with Old Money as the only Meticulous, it's not not nearly as good.
Yeah.
Yeah, same day delivery does lose a lot of its appeal without Meticulous.
The Werefrog asks, how long until old money is banned? I mean, we've got our eyes on her very closely. We
She
haven't
hasn't really
seen-
done anything yet.
There's a lot of decks that like using her, but it's a question of how good are those decks.
And she's a lot more fair in New Core.
You can't.
She's
do...
still very good.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. Grogar, of course, here is just a huge inclusion, being able to find any other troublemaker and not be at risk of being defeated by the opponent. Yeah. A decent amount of AT gain as well. The high Ts and Starlights. Daring Dews. Ember, Daybreaker. It's all good stuff. Next list.
Yeah, I guess he does have enough tree there. That should be fine.
Yeah, he's got.
Seleno not combo.
This is combo.
I think you skipped a list there.
Nurturing Nature White Orange. Where is that one?
Okay, well let's
I
cover
don't have
this
it.
one.
I'll go at it. Must have skipped it when I was
Okay.
doing them.
We'll cover this one. This was Bugles.
All right. Okay, so we're doing guard geese and easy as pie. Okay.
Seems fine.
I think this
And-
is interesting because the it's a little bit easier to control than the Cerberus easy as pie combo was. And a little bit more flexible too, I think. And also you get yellow for bunyips.
You get yellow. Well, so here's the thing. The deck is running a pair of adoption options, which means you can find Bunyip, Brian, and Guard Geese.
That's disgusting.
That's pretty good, right?
That's disgusting. That's just ew.
So there's no wonder Guard Geese is in here. They're tutorable.
Yeah.
And they don't have the normal turn. Well, they do kind of have a turn delay, but
Right.
it's still very nice.
Right. I think the only major downside of that is that you have to have the thing around.
Sure. There's also the fact that you've got Grogars in here who can banish to find the Tempest Shadow, so you are effectively running 6 Tempest Shadows.
Yeah, the Grogars are... Well, Grogar alone obviously is scary, but effectively it just gets you another Tempest Shadow.
Right, because this doesn't even care about the Grogars for their own sake necessarily. It's just like, I like running 6 cards instead of 3 cards.
And we all know Bugle loves running 6 cards instead of 3 cards.
Frog asks, how is that running 6 Tempest Shadows? It's not running 6 Tempest Shadows for Tempest Shadow's effect. It's 6 of the cards in your deck are effectively Tempest Shadow because you can banish Grogar to search your deck for a Tempest Shadow and put it into play face down. So you can either draw into Tempest Shadow and play her naturally, or you can draw into Grogar, play Grogar, uncover, get the Frighten off, and then also get a Tempest from it.
This is like old Pile running 9 penny lanes.
Right. It's also noting that there are, in fact, even more theoretical copies of Tempest Shadow here because you've got Mystery at Hope Hollow. So if that ever gets solved, hey look, you get to go search for a colorless card.
And given how aggressive this deck can play, given the fact that it's, blue and yellow.
Hold on, I heard colorless card. I'm gonna stop you right there.
Card with no play requirement.
Okay, because aloe. What color is aloe?
Colorless.
I hate you. Carry on.
Anyway, these colors go very fast, so that it's very likely that Mystery at Hope Hollow will be solved through DFO.
Yeah.
Or
And-
SFO if your opponent is confronting it for some reason.
Don't know why they would. Don't confront your opponent's Mystery at Hope Hollow. It's always a trap. Just bait and switch it. It's much better. All right, did we get that other list
Yep.
that we missed earlier?
Here you go.
Oh, this is Curse's deck.
Yeah. It has orange for some reason.
Yeah, I recall him speaking about this one as well. This has also since changed. The orange has been dropped, and the hat theme has also kind of been dropped as well. And it's just kind of white-yellow aggro.
Yeah, the orange is very much in here as a tertiary splash, if that.
It's nice to have if he has a way to get Golden Parachute into the discard pile to protect his Novos, but there's not a great source of discarding here, so that's the thing that makes it unfortunate.
Well, there is. It's just in orange, and there's not enough of it. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't read that card. Good. Never mind.
I'm going to say there's no discard in here, sir.
Eh.
I do like the idea of Princess Mask or Gala Gown on Canterlot Citizens, though. That's pretty nice. And, of course, Patagium with Princess Mask is very good. So, yeah. Another unique, aggressive yellow deck, and one we might say for the first time that does not include Day Shift currently. We'll have to see if his newer version does.
I would assume so.
If you have a yellow deck, you should just add Day Shift.
Yeah. I'm actually having a little bit of fun with this. I'm trying to decide if this would work with Ocellus.
Yeah, I could see this working with Ocellus. I mean, Ocellus does love Buckball strategy, though, so you'd probably switch that out.
Yeah, that is a different deck, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stuff would probably need to be switched around,
Mm-hmm.
but it could work.
It seems like the deck here is kind of trying to do two things, right? It has all this power boosting through its resources and the two aunts, and then it wants to lose face-offs with Novo. So
Yeah, and Day Shift being Day Shift being able to keep Novo at the problem would help with that.
yeah, it would.
I don't know. Interesting. We'll have to see where this goes.
Yep. Next list.
Some white and pink.
Oh, with that mean this can only be one person?
Oh dear.
Oh, hi, Leo.
Yes.
It's Leo.
Where's my
Of course it's
Cruise
Leo.
Director deck?
Well, the problem is we made a really good Pinky main, so
Why didn't he run Pinky?
Because this is a rarity deck.
I just don't know.
because that would be a good deck.
This,
And-
I mean, this must be a good deck. It
That's
went
a
2-1.
little harsh.
It's okay, so Leo really enjoys rooting for the underdog.
Yes, he does.
And
it's always amusing seeing what madness he comes up with.
yes. And unfortunately, it seems like Rarity is the current underdog because Pinky's up there being like, "Hi, I've got heavy artillery."
That's a bold move using that rarity in this meta with all the enters play effects. That's
What does that
Yeah,
rarity say?
Sure, it's when an opponent starts a face-off, you can exhaust rarity, and I think there's even an AT cost to banish an opposing friend until the end of the face-off.
No, I don't think there's an AT cost on that.
Is it just
When-
exhauster?
I
When an
believe
opponent
it's just Exhauster.
Yeah. When an opponent starts a face-off, you may exhaust this card to banish one of their friends until the end of the face-off.
That's just okay. So
It's a bold move,
I
Cotton.
understand now why he is using this rarity. I get it. It's because he has Bonate rarity in here.
Oh my god, that's spicy.
Wait, why does that?
Okay, so what he does is he donates something.
He what? I'm sorry?
Shut up.
XD.
Donates something. Aloe white changed my mind. Anyway, a face-off starts, so he banishes the thing that he donates. It comes back into play for him, and he gets another shot out of its trigger.
Okay.
Okay. Cute. It's kind of spicy. I kind of like it. You get if you do it with Queen Chrysalis Evil Twin, then that gets especially.
That's actually real spicy, isn't it?
Well, no, it's not. It's actually terrible because then you spend 5 AT to banish your opponent's friend, have Chrysalis enter play as a copy of that friend, and then give them that exact friend back. So that's not great.
Too
But
spicy.
you know what? You know what? Princess Skystar, friend to the end. There you go. There's your target.
Yeah.
You donate Skystar to the opponent, and then bounce it back when the opponent starts a face-off. Cool. All right, Leo.
Shenanigans.
Nice and spicy, sir. You never fail
very
to
spicy.
You never fail to. Well, you never disappoint.
Also, the bodyguards.
Well, of course.
Why not?
Oh yeah. Because all the unicorn tokens.
I mean, if we're going to be bouncing things, we may as well have bodyguards in there.
Next deck.
All right. What? Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, look! There's more Celestia.
Oh, hey, and Brian, and Gummy, and Bunyip, and Meadowbrook.
It's a yellow-blue aggro deck.
And Derpy.
It does yellow-blue things.
Dirt. Wait, where's
It
Dirt?
does, in fact, do yellow-blue things. She's over there. 2 delivery mares.
This is kind of
Oh,
interesting.
there. Okay.
There's a bunch of numbers in here that
Aren't
kind of
3?
weird.
That are like
Yeah.
Well,
one?
there's like one Sepakli attack is an interesting choice. 2
Yeah.
delivery mares.
Single Meadowbrook.
2 Bunyips. 2 Bryans.
I can kind of see the 2
Buckball
Bryans.
championship.
Actually, wait. Yeah, I can kind of see the 2 Bryans, but
It's. I get the feeling this was perhaps a version of this deck that is not set in stone yet, and he's kind of casting a wide net, trying to see what works and what doesn't.
yeah, it's also 50 cards.
Ooh.
Spicy.
Should have added 3 more of something.
Yep. Make that 53 card deck.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what else we really have to say about these cards. The problem deck is very similar to what we've seen before. The draw deck is very similar. There's a couple of interesting choices in here, but
It's running Mystery rather than Buckball, and I suppose that's probably okay because this doesn't get a ton out of having 2 yellow out of the gate.
no, but it does hurt it. Its entry is kind of tricky. And there's no Fire of Friendships protecting anything in the hand either. It's 2 motivational speeches.
I mean, I guess you could go for motivational speech for entry, but I think most of the time, if Mystery of Hope Hollow is solved, he goes for stick.
Yeah, that's fair. And yeah, there are 3 sticks in here, so. All right. Next
Okay.
list.
It's Applejack.
I think this is Animoys. Okay. So before we
No,
begin,
this is Smith. Oh, yeah, this is Animal.
now this is Animoy.
The
this
previous
was,
one was Smithers.
Yes. This Animoy's deck was actually submitted for the previous deck discourse, but out of our wishes to not spoil his opponent, we did not cover this at the time. So, what do we got here? We got a farming deck.
Yeah. This is Orange Farm with an exhaust theme to it. You got the backdrafts, you got the AJs. If your opponent exhausts something, great, that works. You also have the find the purpose in your life. Starting with Buckball strategy gives you access to Apple Bloom or to Big Mac.
And you've got your honest ponies, of course.
Of course. The full suite of orange events that you can really consider playing. I mean, Taking Care of Business could also be swapped out for Sponge Cake Break if you really wanted to. It may actually be better synergistically. because it's another exhaust effect and it still adds power counters.
Yeah. This is
I
kind
mean-
of unfortunate. This is not going to flip real fast.
Well, it can flip immediately if
Depends
it
on
plays
if
an
you get
honest, if
honest
it plays,
pony.
yeah, if you get an honest pony or a backdraft.
Mm,
Well, backdraft, you wait a turn. Honest pony, you can just drop that and flip
And just
if you want
be
to.
there.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think-
little sparse for me, but okay.
The Werefrog asks if taking care of business adds power counters to mains. No, it does not. Oh, does it
can,
really?
yes.
It does. It does add power counters to mains.
Yes, it can.
Interesting.
Which
At
card?
6, taking care of business.
Oh,
It-
okay. Okay.
It's kind of spicy. All right.
It's expensive, but we saw what happened in the past when AJ got power counters on her. So
Yeah.
okay, sure. And then you've got the full villain suite there, or epic suite, which makes sense. One pirate ship just for some more efficient movement. I think the only thing that would be interesting to see here is whether or not Fume could fit in well.
Oh, just to really crank up the annoyance factor.
Yeah, but I guess if you're going for the farm, it's probably not worth the 4 AT investment. You'd probably rather use that on face-off tricks.
To
Or
Yeah.
answer
power
the
boosting.
to answer the Werefrog's question, follow up. No, sponge cake only affects friends with the power counters.
Yeah, if Sponge Cake added 2 power counters onto any character, it would actually probably be worth considering. That's 3 AT to buff your main by 2 power permanently. That's really strong.
That's kind of good. It would have actually seen play, like last meta.
I suppose you could run an orange deck with taking care of business, staff, and then Festival Caterer. Oh, but Festival Caterer only says friends. Darn. Oh well. Yep, sure does. Only says friends. Okay, I like it. The grubber, of course, is obviously very important. I guess there's a lot of friends. There's a good number of events and a good number of troublemakers as well. I'm a little surprised to not see the new orange problem in there, but I guess if you're trying to keep the bonuses relatively low, you don't want to go that route.
Yeah, no sense in making Aggro's life easy.
The Royal Breakfast as 2 is interesting. It's not really a card I would expect you'd want to see that much in the late game, but it does make it more difficult for the opponent to confront. So again, there's probably a reason behind all of these card choices.
Yeah, I mean you don't want to give the aggro deck an easy way to get points here. It's got a relatively low bonus for how big its requirements are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could, you'd probably sit there and run some of the stuff from Old Core, but we don't have that.
Nope, that's fair. And I guess the only other thing I'd be interested to see here is whether or not some number of the apple blooms could be dropped to run the orange resource just for some hard removal if you needed it.
Oh, the festival
Mhm.
or the harvest.
Yeah, harvest schedule. Yeah.
Hmm. I mean, I think that would actually be nice if you could stand to lose the apple blooms.
Yeah, Apple Bloom does work well with the events, but many of your events are quite expensive. And having 3 of her out there, the question is how often are you actually going to be playing the events? You've got 12 in the entire deck versus how much exhaustion is actually taking place here. And you've got 3 grubbers, you've got the honest ponies, you've got the backdrafts, you've got the find the purpose in your life.
Well, let me make a slightly different argument here. Let's talk about opportunity costs for a moment. No, the deck has 4 resources in it currently, and 3 of those are sticks.
Yeah.
And those are kind of important in terms of beating troublemakers up with your main, because you're going to want your main at the problem to deal with. Grogar scaring stuff and so on and so forth.
Sure.
It would almost be worth it, in my opinion, to throw some extra resources in here just to prevent opponents just sitting there and going, oh, I see you played a stick. Well, here's my, whatever piece of resource removal. Because at some point, you're going to run out of sticks and they're not going to run out of resource removal.
That's true.
And if you're laying harvest schedules down, that's just more targets that they have to remove, because those are not real fun to have to deal with.
Yeah, as much as I hate to say it, I think taking care of business might need to be considered as well. It is by far the least efficient of all of the events that's in there. It doesn't exhaust anything. It adds 1 power counter to each of your characters involved in the face-off. But how many characters are you really going to have involved simultaneously? And how much is that 1 power counter on AJ, who already gets an innate power boost, worth?
Yeah.
So
it's not bad, but just because it's putting power counters on your main, but at the same time, that's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But if you find it just tends to work, okay.
Yeah. Thank you for submitting it. All right, we've got 3 more from COCO, and then we'll get into some of these cards.
Okay.
Shenanigans.
We've got KU's deck.
King
Is it
Utopia.
orange? It's orange, right?
It's
It is
orange
Partially orange.
and purple.
It's mostly orange.
It's got purple as the main.
But also purple.
This looks an awful lot like Big Orange. I see limestones and the new AJ and the old AJ and the older AJ.
But it has an AJ with 1 power.
That AJ has 1 power in exactly 1 circumstance.
Yes, you're totally going to play that when there's no other Earth ponies, i.e. the entire deck on board.
I gotta commend KU here for going all in on the all of my friends must be Hugh and running legitimately 3 copies of Professor Fossil.
Also, every single friend in here has the Earth Pony trait.
Yeah, so the only way AJ won't have more than 1 power is if you play her when no one else is on board.
Pie from the Sky is going to hit everything for huge amounts. The desert roads are there and are very nice. The shovel to add more power counters. I mean, yeah, as Navy Tiger says in chat, she been eating her apples.
Buy some apples, y'all.
Applejack, 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 Applejack. 6 Applejacks.
Don't forget about there is more than 6 Applejacks there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 Applejacks.
There's more copies than 1.
There are 18 Applejack. No, 17? 16?
That's a
16
lot of
Applejacks.
Applejack.
It's an expensive deck. But, I mean, if you want to play big ponies, this is a way to do it.
Well, the cost histogram on this actually isn't that bad. There's
a lot of 4s in here.
There are 14 things that cost 4, 11 things that cost 1 and 3, and then 7 things that cost 2. So it's flatter than you'd expect.
Getting multiple limestones in play makes this deck a lot cheaper, though.
Yes, it does.
Yes. Also, no, this doesn't have anything like an aggro power or a cost histogram. But yeah.
This is the kind of deck that I would imagine would have loved Appaloosa if Appaloosa were still legal.
Oh, yes. This is actually very cohesive. I like it.
Interesting. Okay. Next list.
Hey, orange. And yellow. But no
Orange
day
and yellow.
shifts.
Okay, so we've added Golden Harvest as some extra exhaust, Moody Root, and Fume. There's the Fume, and some harvest schedules. So we are definitely all in on the exhaust strategy here. But we also have Brian.
Treading water. I
No,
guess that would work here, wouldn't it?
That's not treading water.
No,
That's
I know.
Oh, you're wondering if treading water could work?
Wouldn't work. It would work okay, I guess.
The one here that strikes me as most odd is the Fluttershy Professor of Kindness.
I was just thinking about that.
And I understand it's being used for entry, but
Would you rather see Patagiums?
I would rather see Patagium, I think.
Well, no, because there's no reason not to run Fluttershy here, because Patagium's. Well, no, you're right, because the flip that is going to matter.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, you're never going to get the... Well, I mean, I guess you could get the value from Professor of Kindness, but it wouldn't be that great of a play if you did.
I think Brian's the only thing that hits.
Brian is the only thing that it hits.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of hard then.
Yep. So a few similarities to what we saw with the other AJ deck. And then an interesting shift here into yellow, but maybe some different card choices could result in a better record next time. What's the last one we got?
Let's take a look. Twily. Mute Twily.
In blue.
In blue. So we've got an aggro theme going on here. Hey, look, it's Sakura. It's that card you want to run in pile, cheese.
Yeah. I don't know what of these events I want to play at immediate speed.
Some of them are immediate speed.
Yeah, they're like the ones that aren't already. Are there only 2? No, there's 3.
So you have Hyper
Change
Beam.
and Formation Flying are your best options here.
Yeah.
Because they become immediate speed movement.
Which is nice.
Changeling can change is also really funny if you're like, they uncover a epic non-villain, and you're like, I'm gonna punch it first.
So let us assume that you have set up your board such that you have Trixie Smoke and Mirrors and Trixie Lulamoon Sleight of Hoof. And you play Sonic Rainboom to play Formation Flying. And you stack the triggers in the best possible way. 4, 6, 12, 24. That's a 24 power Trixie Smoke and Mirrors.
All right, that's some walking around power.
That's pretty good. You play same day delivery on there as well, and now you're at a 32 power Trixie Smoke and Mirrors. Is that right?
No, it's gonna be more than that, isn't it?
No, it's 32. Because the first one, you play, gives it +2 power and then doubles. So from 2 to 8.
Remember, now we messed with this, right? All the addition happens first.
Right, correct. And so the second event you play, it goes from 2 power to 6, doubles and doubles, 12 to 24. And the third event you play, so 2 to 8 with the +2s 3 times. Oh, I forgot the other double. That's why. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
64 power.
Yeah.
There we go.
Too much power. No pony should have so much power.
And that costs you a net total of 2 AT to do that, to play the events once those friends are on the board. Man, that's a lot of power. I kind of like that.
That's a little bit of a swing, yeah.
Okay, spicy. I can dig it.
A little niche, but all right.
The Trixie strategy is really good. If your opponent can't deal with Trixie, then that's really scary. And Daring Do is just super efficient. So,
I mean, the problem there, of course, is that you can fix that with a single belly flop.
so what's nice is you can play part of the events that you need early to get Trixie set up, and then play the formation flying. So you can play Sonic Rainboom like at some point early on your turn, and play the same day delivery, and buff Trixie, and then play the formation flying during your score phase, and that actually makes her even stronger. So, okay, I like what's going on here. There's some cool stuff. All your entry for blue is in the form of resources, and that is a little scary to me. And there's only 6.
Yeah, that's a little scary. This really needs more entry.
He does have Mystery at Hope Hollow, though.
It does.
I'd
I'd still probably like to see some loyal ponies in here.
Yeah, I think you would probably drop, I don't know, maybe the Rainbow Generators?
I'd probably drop the Sakuras, in all honesty. I think it's just too expensive for this deck.
Yeah, Zakora.
Yeah, drop the Sakuras. What am I thinking?
Yeah, I think it's going to be extremely rare that we see Zakora in a serious deck, and whatever's running Zakora and being serious is going to be
Terrifying.
Yes.
She costs so much.
Yeah, she does. We'll make Zebra Tribal with a Zebra discount card next time. It'll be great.
Hey, I've got some plans. Don't tempt me.
So, you want to see a version of same-day delivery that's even better?
Sure, but maybe we should introduce what's going on here.
Are we really starting off with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the first one. Of course we
Yeah,
are.
it's
It
the
doesn't
most
get much better.
broken thing, yeah.
So, Cursed Chords recently published a developer interview article. He asked us a couple questions about the development of Leaders and Legends. And one of the things he asked in his barrage, so to speak, was, did you find more cards in Leaders and Legends that were overpowered and had to be nerfed in testing, or were underpowered and had to be buffed in testing? And we've got a link to his post here in chat. The short answer we gave is it was more common to see a card ultimately brought up from a lower power level, but that doesn't mean that there weren't cards that also had to be brought down. And those are really the ones that are more fun to talk about anyway. So let's talk about them.
You want to see
Alright,
the
so I
first
think-
one?
I think Cheese has already introduced our first one. I think I'd like to open the description of this with just what I've written here, which is muffled sobbing.
Yeah. I think the wording is exactly the same. It just used to not have an AT cost.
This
I'll take
What-
free AT.
Hey,
So there
hey,
were...
what did we learn back in like Absolute Discord about events that cost 0?
And that generate action tokens.
Yeah,
that it's scary.
don't do that.
Yeah. That was actually in Crystal Games. Burst of Speed was in Crystal Games. But
I
we
mean,
learned that lesson
Kenner
even longer ago.
Knights.
I mean, sure.
Royal
So-
Canterlot voice.
Those of you who remember same-day delivery may recognize this as doing basically the same thing. It's not immediate speed, so you could only play this at main phase timing, and it flipped for 1 less power. But it didn't cost you anything to play. It turns out that this is a monumentally terrible idea. Because, among other things, not only is your AT gain that much more efficient, and it got dumb I think we counted shuffles over the course of the game from this card, and it was something like 15. But if your deck ever became empty and you controlled one of the new Starlight friends, that when you play an event that has purple requirement, you can look at the top card of your deck and put it on top or bottom, you would actually just gain infinite AT. You'd play this, reveal it, gain the AT, shuffle your deck, trigger Starlight, reveal this, put it on top, reveal, gain the AT, shuffle your deck, pay 1 to draw, and you'd be net positive 1 AT.
But there's a shuffle, so you can't shortcut it.
There's a shuffle of 1 card, and if someone calls the judge over and I'm the judge, I'm going to be like, no, you just lose, deal with it.
That sounds
Thankfully, we
like a
didn't print the
player
card that
getting
way.
upset.
Yeah, thankfully the card was changed. It was made more useful in the role of Star Swirl Research by flipping for more and being immediate speed playable, but it also had an AT cost associated with it. So there was no longer a way to
And it's now
super
7
discount that.
power, right?
6
You can-
power.
6?
You
okay.
can. It is still possible that you can gain infinite AT with this card, costing 1 AT, by having 2 Starlights out and having an empty deck, but that is significantly harder. So, it's not nearly as bad. Although, props to anyone who manages to do that combo in core.
Good luck.
Yep. All right,
Okay,
next.
Next card? Fraudster. Which card did this end up being? Featherbanks.
This
didn't.
didn't see the light of day.
In the first wave of Friends Forever,
is the
or Leaders and Legends, it was intended to have the 5 2-color combinations that never got an ultra rare in High Magic. Some of those cards were shifted onto other cards in the set, and some of them just didn't end up being printed. This is one of the ones that was not printed.
Hey, put it back. Thank you.
It's in the wrong order for some reason, I don't know why.
So this was a card that was designed to allow blue and yellow to play efficiency games in the same way that purple would when you gained a bunch of AT. So automatically, your first friend that you played on your opponent's turn, you could pay 1 AT less to play it, and you could exhaust this card to make it hasty. So it was kind of cool. However, if your opponent had multiple sources of AT generation, like Paper Twy, Starlight Glimmer, or High Tea, or anything like that, your hasty friend got even cheaper.
What's this I hear about free Daybreakers?
There's a couple problems with this, though. By far, the biggest problem that I spot immediately that I don't even think we spotted in testing is this has the wording when your opponent gains 1 or more action tokens. So you think, okay, if my opponent is gaining multiple AT at once, then I still only get the discount once. I still only get the 1 AT discount. The problem is, if your opponent is playing Control and has Unicorn tokens with Prepared, each of those instances of Prepared is a separate trigger.
Yep. I mean, but once you're beyond, like, especially in blue-yellow, once you're beyond 2 reduction, it doesn't really matter.
I will play Pirate Crew for free at hasty speed and give all my characters Swift.
Sure, but they don't have agile, so
Well, some of them might. You don't know. Speaking of not having agile, we'll get to that in a moment.
did I just assume? Yeah. Okay. Well, this isn't. So this might actually be something that could be turned into a real card with some more adjustment and consideration. But this was just like, not right now.
Yeah, these abilities ended up being shared among other cards.
Yeah, the friends in your hand have hasty until you play a friend was moved onto Grandpa Gruff and shifted over to pink-blue.
Which seems more appropriate.
Yeah. Speaking of pink-blue, by the way.
I mean, these aren't going to be in order.
Oh, well, okay.
Oh.
All right, well, what we got next?
Hey, look, it's pink-blue.
Hey.
But a different one?
So, this was supposed to be an option for, again, in that same cycle of 2-color ultra-rare cards that were never printed in High Magic. A way to deal with opposing troublemakers that had abilities that you really didn't like, and yet still be able to score points for beating them. So the Werefrog asks, what does it mean to challenge a face-down troublemaker? Well, it means exactly what you think it does. It's the same thing as when you use a Staff of Sikonis to start a face-off against an opposing frightened friend. The opponent just has no power involved in the face-off. The bigger issue here was figuring out, okay, well, if the troublemaker is face down, then we don't know what its point value is. And that's why you had to add the clause at the end, if you win the face-off, score a point. That's the only benefit you get other than being able to dismiss the troublemaker.
Yeah, this would need some severe rules tinkering to make this work with any kind of sanity.
It actually doesn't need as much as you think.
Well,
But it would need some.
Well, sure, but if you're going to take it with its current value, you might as well just say dismiss a troublemaker, gain a point, because unless like something crazy happens,
Yeah, like
you're
how are
gonna
you
win
gonna
that face off.
how are it lose that face off?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it's possible.
The big thing here is you could get even more value out of cards like Daybreaker, though.
Yeah. Or Rarity, Breezy.
Or Crown of Sibling Supreme.
Breezy.
Did you just say Rarity Breezy?
Yes, Rarity
Yes.
Breezy.
No.
I liked
Bad.
that card.
It was the
I
only
did
good
too,
breezy.
but bad.
Aw,
We used to Didn't we use Twilight? Oh yeah, we used Twilight Breezy in the stupid.
104.3?
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
That Breezy was fine because it powered the engine.
Yeah. Rarity Breezy is also fine.
no, whatever. All the breezes are fine because they worked in Dragon Express. There, I said it. Move on.
Yeah.
Dragon
Correct.
Express never saw tournament play. Get over it.
Apple Vendor did. Apple Vendor saw Heiko play.
Friendship Express is bad.
It's
Anyway.
not Friendship Express. It's the Ravers bodyguard combo. It's stupid.
Boo.
All right, next one. So this one, we just didn't see that effect. We saw a different challenge effect in orange and blue.
Oh, this thing. Oi.
This is the original version of Guard Geese.
This was fun.
There's a very easy reason that this didn't get printed. And that reason is you cannot have a card that attempts to create targeting rules in a game that has no targeting system. The question was, all right, what does effect mean? What qualifies as effect?
It's that same question I've been asking for like 3 years.
Well, you've been asking effect. This is affect. But
Fair.
yes, you're right. And so ultimately we decided that the easiest way to handle this was to just allow the card to flip that troublemaker face down if you really wanted to. And it gave it some other utility as well.
I believe turn over.
Yes, turn over. That's right.
It's not uncover or, I guess, covering. It's just turn over.
Yep. What's next?
Magic Mirror. Oh. What are they? Royal Guard? No.
Yeah.
Crystal
Pegasus Royal
Guards?
Guard.
Oh, Pegasus
Yeah.
Royal Guards. What's different about this card?
It's a small difference. but it's an important one.
Is it cost?
No, the cost, rec, and power are all the same on this card. The only difference is this triggers
it does not say your.
Correct. Does not say when one of your friends enters play.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This triggers when an opponent's friend enters play, if it's the third friend that enters play that turn as well.
Yeah.
So if you were up against
funny.
Yeah, if you were up against Token Swarm,
Thanks for the free 2 power.
maybe more.
I was about to
Yeah.
say, you probably got more than one of these on the field at that point.
Yeah. So this was changed for obvious reasons, and it turns out the Pegasus Royal Guard is still a ton of fun to play, so it didn't need this.
But it wanted it.
It wanted it, but it didn't need it. All right, what else we got?
Now we're at Featherbangs.
And you're all looking at this card going, but wait, that's the released image, right? And you'd be correct.
Except that little cost 3 almost became a cost 2.
Yeah.
Purely by accident, not as a result of any kind of feedback or testing, but just as a result of missed data entry conversion from the spreadsheet.
When we
It was in there as a 2.
Yeah, because when I went through and copied all the numbers, some numbers got changed around, and I think this was a 3 power for 2 cost.
No, it was just a 2 power for 2 cost.
Yeah, was it? Whatever.
But even still, it was
Can you
like,
imagine this thing is 2 at cost 2?
yeah, it would be horrifying.
I mean, it's already horrifying, but not
It's
for that
already
reason.
really good value, but this is just stupid. So, be glad that Featherbangs does not cost 2.
This is why we do proofing runs.
Multiple proofing runs.
Next.
Yeah.
Wilder Fire.
This is Hufar.
Mm-hmm. Except he's better than Hufar.
Yeah, it's better than Hufar.
Except
This
he's
one was
The
a
confusing
Griffin.
version.
The Griffin here was really nice. But the other thing was that the Traveler that he gave stacked with his own innate Traveler. So the turn that this card entered play, it would actually have double Traveler. So you move it once and put 2 power counters on it.
That's just paying 4 for 4 power, like whatever.
Not if you're using other blue efficient movement. Like if you're doing this with
You can't
formation
say Dreamcast.
flying or changeling can change, you're getting a lot of power out of it.
Loyal Pony.
Loyal Pony, yep, that's right. Plushy Dash,
There we go.
yeah. So this was just a slight change, but it did get changed.
Oh yeah, heaven forbid you've got an actual conga line going at the same time.
Oh, if we're going into Harmony, then you got Call in the Dream Cavalry,
Oh yeah.
the original Wildfire.
Holly Dash, Sky Stinger.
Gotta go fast. All kinds of good stuff.
Oh yeah, and you can do simultaneous movement to make infinite power characters. Yeah, sounds fun.
Ever Vigilant. Lots of great stuff can be done with this. This is why it got changed.
Why you can't have nice things.
All right, what else?
Pinkie Pie.
There's a lot of text on here.
This one just has
But
a
I'll
word
give
missing,
anyone
right?
who's looking for the change a hint. You want to look at the last ability and see if you can spot the difference. There is one key difference here.
Oh, right, yes.
It didn't take long for this to get found.
Nope.
No.
So Pinky's really good now, obviously, because you can pitch any cards you have in your hand, dismiss an opposing friend, and then if you have like Gabby or any kind of other immediate draw, you can fill your hand back up. Pinky's throttle control currently is that she has to exhaust.
Implying that you can throttle Pinky.
Sure.
This one doesn't exhaust.
So you would trigger this both at your score phase and at your opponent's score phase. And if you had enough cards, or if their friends were cheap enough, you were removing 2 cards per turn cycle. 2 friends per turn cycle, I should say.
Seems fine.
It was not fine.
So to paraphrase one of your favorite memes, cannons
Don't
are an
worry.
instrument.
It's like, Pinkie Pie, cannons are not an instrument. Yes, they are. Going to use
And I'm-
21 of them.
Pinky, no?
Pinkie, yes. Pinkie, always yes! Alright, what else?
High tea.
I think we
yes.
fixed this one before, like it didn't. I don't think we even got to the point of running this through a playtest.
No, we didn't. High
Used to be
tea,
immediate, I think.
correct. Used to be immediate. So your opponent would spend an AT and you'd be like, haha, gotcha! I get AT now. Your opponent's like, but I want AT too. And you're like, no. If there's one thing we learned from Paper Twi, it's that 2-cost AT generators had better not be stupid. Current high T, much more fair. Old high T, completely busted. That is high T when Trixie gains control of it. When Starlight's running high T, everyone is equal.
Nice.
You thought she had changed? No. And yes, high T would be at a table.
So what you're saying is she didn't learn anything, she was right all along?
Correct.
I didn't learn anything at all.
All right, I think we have 4 more.
Yellow mane.
Very similar to what we saw, but instead of both gaining AT and drawing a card, you would choose one, and in exchange, you got Agile on a main. We'll just let that sink in for a moment.
Yeah, I'll take Agile on my main that it currently has a stick on it.
You sure? You sure you want to do that?
Yeah. I'll DFO every turn. And gain AT every time one of my problems enters play. That seems fine.
Which, spoilers, is going to be a lot.
Yeah. The other
Get some
thing to...
dilemmas going, some great stuff.
So not only is Agile on a main, just generally speaking, a pretty bad idea if it's easy to get, the bigger issue you end up with is if you are offered the choice between gaining 1 AT or drawing a card, which of those two are you always going to choose?
Gain an AT.
Correct. Because what can you do with 1 AT?
Draw a
You
card.
can either draw a card or play something.
So there are cases you wouldn't
Sure. But they
because
are
of because of the timing.
Yes. You might just need answers. You might have plenty of AT already, and you might need something immediately.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, you were always... So, with that being said, the Agile was stripped, and you just got both effects. And I think it worked out much better that way.
Still very strong, but your Agile Fluttershy running around beating things up with a stick is going to have to wait.
Oh, I don't have the screenshot of this next one. I wish I did.
Colorless mane.
Yes. Oh, Student 6.
This main was interesting to deal with in testing in terms of design.
This main changed just so many times, but the original version was always within this particular theme. The idea was to make a main that supported playing a wide multicolor strategy with a bunch of different friends and basically focused it on just the friends. So this main had the play requirements of all of your friends reduced by 2 of every color. But in exchange, on its start side, you couldn't play events. And if at the start of your turn, you had friends that had 6 or more colors among them, you got to turn the card over. And if you turn the card over, then you could finally play events. Somewhere in my computer, I don't know where, there is a screenshot of what happens when your friend's play requirements are reduced by 1 of every color on the start side, because that was eventually changed as well. It didn't feel like the boosted side was impactful enough. The decks already ran a ton of friends, and so you just left it on the start side and you were fine with that. I think the board state was like 15. It had multiple Cloud Chaser and Flitters. It had Smolder and Sandbars. It had the white pink Griffin. It had the Cadence main or Cadence Tricorn, and like Pegasus Royal Guards, and Cloud Chaser, the other Cloud Chaser and Flitter that moved stuff. It was completely ludicrous. So that was completely changed. Now Student Sticks still allows you to play decks with more colors than you might otherwise do so. No, I don't know if there were day shifts in there. Remember, it was only like turn 3 that happened. That was turn 3. I don't think I mentioned that part. It was very dumb. Maybe turn 4 at the latest. So the answer to the question of how good is reduced color rec across the board, the answer is very good.
And I think this was part of what has weighed into my manifesto about why getting into all the colors is easily as bad.
Yes. Yes, you need to pay if you're going for that kind of option. All right. One more.
Grognar?
Oh no, we're not done. We got more.
Are there more past that?
Uh-huh.
We already did all those already.
We haven't talked about Ember,
Oh, we forgot about Ember. 2 more. That's right.
at least.
What can we say
Grogar-
about this one?
Well, this is the print version. This is the card as it is printed now.
This card's already dumb.
It's a very good card. There's a very few decks that wouldn't at least consider running Grogar. However, its final ability used to not have the AT cost.
It also, this is actually not the print version. It no longer puts things into play face up.
Yes, it does. It puts Grogar into play face up, and it puts the other thing into play face down. And this is exactly as it's worded.
This is the
I'm
print
reading.
version.
I'm reading it the wrong way, my bad.
No, that's
Uh,
fine.
3 points wouldn't have mattered much considering it's never going to get defeated.
Except by you. Yeah, so you used to be able to just return this by swapping one of your other troublemakers in play, and it wouldn't cost you anything. And that was not great. So the little bit of the tax on there does make a meaningful difference. Okay.
The
What if
Werefrog
Grogar-
asks... Oh, you're reading it?
Yeah, no, go for it.
What if Grogar is put into play face up where another epic is, but the epic is controlled by the opponent? I believe the way
Turn
that's
player.
resolved is turn player resolves
No, this
no,
one
isn't
is
that the one who creates the uniqueness
Correct.
violation resolves it?
Correct.
If you are, yeah, if you create it and something of yours is involved, you choose it.
Yes.
Correct. So if you put Grogar into play face up at a problem where an opponent's epic is, you create the uniqueness violation, you choose how to resolve it.
So it turns out that Grogar can assassinate other epics. Fitting, I think.
He still can. It just costs 1 now. And you have to have a troublemaker.
Yeah.
Oh, and to top it all off, he used to be 8 power.
Oh yeah, we forgot about that. He was originally 8 power because at the time that Grogar was being designed, the season finale hadn't come out yet.
He's no longer 8 power.
He is no longer 8 power.
Aracat won't let us print an 8 power
I
troublemaker.
thought
Someone changed
that
his mind.
he
I might.
got reduced to 7 before the finale even aired.
It got reduced to 7, like, pretty much immediately.
He did, but the only reason he was designed at 8 to begin with was he was the big bad, until it turned out he was actually just Discord.
Spoilers.
It's been, like, 2 months.
But that doesn't mean I'm done grieving about our queen.
Yeah, you'll get over it.
No.
Rip.
Rip.
Speaking
Anyway.
of rip,
Ember.
again, very similar, and it's amazing the difference that one little word change can do. Or one little omission in this case. The effect here, I believe this one also lets you distribute the power counter among your troublemakers, which previous Ember did not. And you can exhaust this card to end a face-off, and the card still readies at the start of your next turn. So if your opponent doesn't have a good way of dealing with Ember, and Ember sets up a troublemaker wall, shrug?
Shrug.
Well, you can also use this in a hilarious offensive way, too. So you sit there and you set up on both problems and start a double problem face-off.
Then you end the face-off.
Or
After-
you end your opponent's double problem face-off, and then you get a revenge DFO for nothing.
Yes.
It's amusing. It's like, I believe I don't want you to have that 3-point bonus. I would rather have it.
Yeah.
It's kind of silly.
Now there are dozens more cards that we could talk about that were brought up in Power, but honestly, you already know what they're at now, and you can trust us, they're far more interesting now than they were back during testing.
I don't think we got anything else here.
No, I think that's about it.
I do believe that is it.
Well, that will about
Yep.
wrap up our discussion here. Before we go into the exit, though, we should mention that the next event that Sim is going to be at will be at Vancouver Pony Expo 2020, which is taking place January 10th through the 12th in Vancouver, Canada. There is a post on Reddit already detailing some of the events we will be running. A schedule will eventually be up.
But I don't think
But-
that we've talked about what the focus of the event's going to be.
No, it's going to be Harmony.
What? I thought we were running 5 nightmare events.
That sounds bad. No.
Cheese is going to be running nightmare events by himself at a corner somewhere. You can go give him food if you want to.
Sounds good.
I'll take food.
Will combo for food. So we will have Harmony, and then there will also be a sealed event, a Pauper event, and a Cube Draft event. And the Harmony tournament will be live streamed and commentated by our very own Ivory Starlight
Hi.
and Hithrock. Thank you,
That-
Hithrock.
That just means we're going to argue about mundane topics the entire time.
That's fine.
It's going to be why Trixie is better than.
Don't insult his best pony. Anyway, that will about wrap up our discussion for today. We would, of course, like to give a big shout out to all our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. And if you aren't currently a patron and enjoy what we do, please consider donating. Doing so does enable us to continue making content like this. If you have comments or questions you'd like to send our way, or if you're just interested in hearing about what we're working on for the future, you can stay in contact with us through Patreon, or reach us through Facebook, Twitter, and email. And patrons at or above the $5 per month level also get access to our Slack channel, where you can chat live with us any day, anytime. Especially if we're up at like 3 in the morning or 5 in the morning.
I was awake at 6 a.m. Pacific.
Yes, you were. I was
Why?
also awake then.
I was not.
If you are looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them in our YouTube channel linked in the sidebar. And make sure to subscribe so we can have a channel URL that is easier to remember. With all that said, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. We are, as always, Commentary is Magic. I am, as always, Grandpaws.
Big cheese.
Arcat and.
Ivory Starlight. Sleep time.
Good night.
Well, we will see you, I believe, during Vancouver, but if you tune in on the 29th, we do have a Yule log, as is tradition.
The 29th?
The 29th.
Okay.
That is a Sunday, I believe.
Okay.
It's not exactly Christmas time, but let's be perfectly fair.
Just having a fire going and having plush ponies in front of it is adorable. Just as long as the
Not-
plush ponies aren't in the fire.
Not in the fire.
They are sufficiently isolated from the fire. Yes.
Learn from
Okay.
Grandpa's mistakes with the tree and his card collection. Keep
My
them away
tree
from
and
the
card
fire.
collection are fine, and we've come full circle now. So, with that, have a good night, everybody.
Fair enough.
Bye.
Good night. Happy holidays. Merry hearthwarming. Whatever.
Right.